The real world's champion stands tall at the end of a two-night event inside the fabled Tokyo Dome. I'm John Renton with my review of New Japan Pro Wrestling's Wrestle Kingdom 16 Night 2 event. Yes, Kazuchi Okada is the real world's champion, as if there was ever any doubt. Honestly, I had my doubts because New Japan Pro Wrestling has made some dodgy decisions as far as talents they decided to push in, some matches and how they've gone and everything, but they went the correct route. Hand the belt to Okada, he will straighten things out. And there was a pretty solid undercard outside of a couple matches. And this one was better than Night 1 overall as far as a package. So I will say that Night 1 had some terrific goddamn matches, but they did have some direct. Let me know your thoughts on this show in the comments, please. I do also want to say that based on what New Japan Pro Wrestling's schedule is for the rest of the month, I'm probably not going to review anything else from the company. The Noah show, I don't know. I don't know if I'm gonna. I'm going to be really busy on the weekend and actually through most of next week. So I don't know if I'm going to have time. We'll see. But anyway, Kevin Kelly and Chris Charlton on commentary. 3 pre-show matches. I'm just going to say right now, while I'm glad that they got people on the card, they really didn't need to have 3 of these goddamn things. They really didn't. Especially the first one. And nothing against some of the talent involved, but Bad Luck Fale, Gedo and Jado versus Togi Makabe, Yuji Nagata, and Hanma. They got to get a fresh batch of talent. They got to freshen things up. Gedo and Jado should not be in the goddamn ring anymore. Hanma wins with the Kokeshi from the second rope and pins Gedo. So at least there was that. And then the second pre-show match. Master Wato, Kojima, and Tenzan versus Taka Michinoku, Kanemaru, and El Desperado. Wato wants to get at El Desperado and get a shot at the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Championship. And, well, we got some good action between them to start the match, and then we get the Tenkozi Cutter because Kojima and Tenzan, even though they certainly aren't what they were even 5 to 10 years ago, they certainly can move well and do good in these multi-man matches. And Wato does some kind of weird arm I don't know what the fuck you could call that. He got the victory. He made El Desperado tap out. So naturally, we're probably going to get this at the February event. New Beginning in Osaka, assuming they're doing the New Beginning tour. I don't know if they are. I know they're doing the Golden Series, whatever that is, so maybe that's going to replace the New Beginning tour. And then we get Dangerous Tekkers, Zack Sabre Jr., and Taichi, along with Doki against Bushi, Hiromu, and Shingo. So in the previous 6-man, I was like, wow, from semi-main to second dark match on the card, or second pre-show match on the card for El Desperado. Shingo went from a terrific fucking match against Kazuchi Okada to close out Night 1 to the third match, the third pre-show match. And Shingo, hey, he wasn't making any excuses. He was willing to work his way back, and I think he's going to have a pretty terrific 2022. Hiromu versus Zack Sabre Jr. I never thought I'd actually want to see that because I never thought it would actually happen. Give me this match, you cowards. We get a melee at the end and Last of the Dragons on Doki for 3. So it was either Doki or Bushi that were going to take the pinfall, and actually, to be perfectly honest, I was actually a little bit worried they were going to pin Bushi, but for once, he was on the winning side. And then we get a break before the show starts proper with a rundown of the card, and we get Rocky Romero and Taguchi, the Mega Coaches, against El Phantasmo and Taiji Ishimori. Ishimori with great goddamn mask work. Seriously, fucking great. And then they took on Robbie Eagles and Tiger Mask in a 3-way for the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Tag Team Championships. ELP hits Tiger Mask before the bell because he got that loaded boot. So they, do melee stuff and everything, and I don't know why in the world, they bothered to have a referee call anything, because, one, it was a 3-way, so it was just going to be a mess. It wasn't dull, and they finally take off ELP's boot, and there's a piece of metal in the boot. What? And ELP and Ishimori get kicked out. ELP then tweeted out that he was robbed, and El Phantasmo and Ishimori are a really good tag team, but I don't really find the antics funny or anything. It's just kind of plain and bland and whatever, but so it's basically just down to the 2 teams, the 2 face teams, so to speak, and we didn't really get, we got some good action. This is probably the weakest, well, actually, no, this is the second weakest match on the card, where they, it's down 2 teams. We get the Romero special tapping out Rocky Romero, and Taguchi was upset. Are we going to see the Mega Coaches explode? They need more tag teams in the Junior Heavyweight division, or just dissolve the tag titles altogether. Okay, Stardom Showcase. Starlight Kid and Mayu Iwatani versus Saya Kamatani, I'm sorry if I mispronounced it, and Tom Nakano. I have no idea who any of these women are. No clue. No clue. I don't follow Stardom close enough. I will say that they did some good stuff as far as like action and some dives with some good double team work. And we get a Phoenix Splash 1, 2, 3. Good stuff. I wasn't invested. I mean, I didn't hate it. And I hope that maybe they can add a Stardom match here and there to big events like this. Don't do it every like show. But since, Bushiroad has acquired Stardom and you can showcase the women a little bit more on shows like this, I think they should have had a Stardom match on night 1, Stardom match on night 2, and just do that like for the anniversary show. Have like, have it be a pre-show match. Do something. You have the assets. Stardom is running their own, tour, or their own tours, but why not do that? So then we get Shima with Strong Hearts. I actually got to meet Shima, a couple years ago. Great guy, and I actually got to see Strong Hearts compete in a couple respective matches at a couple indie shows, and great. And Shima can wrestle fantastically, for being, and assuming that's even a way to grammatically say it correctly. Despite the fact he's been wrestling for 20 years, he moves around so goddamn well. So, Shima, Suzuki, Chase, and Yano, KOPW, Fatal 4-Way, an eclectic mix, and the human equivalent of NyQuil, aka Chase Owens. Alright, it was a mess. It wasn't dull. Everybody hates Yano. Shima and Suzuki do the chop, 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 chop stuff. And Suzuki ends up with the Gotch-style pile driver 1, 2, 3. There he goes. Suzuki is now able to make his own rules for this for the matches throughout 2022 as long as he keeps that. Great, Suzuki can make his own rules. This world is fucked. And it's certainly going to be interesting given, his MMA background and all that, and influence and who he was trained by, and just the fact he's been wrestling for so goddamn long, and I mean that with respect. Yano then cuffs Suzuki to escape a beatdown and everything, and then Suzuki beats up a young lion after he frees him, as is tradition. Goto, Yoshihashi, and Yo versus Evil, Sho, and Yujiro with Dick Togo, never openweight 6-man. Oh, boy. House of Torture. Goodbye. What happened? Oh, yeah, Ishii tried to come out to help, but alas, the never openweight 6-man championship stay on the House of Torture, and the wrestling world in New Japan dies a little bit because of this stupid bullshit. Anyway, Kejimuno and the Noah roster show up. I know nothing about the Noah roster. Nothing at all. Mutual Mind watches them and has tried to tell me, and it just doesn't stick. Mainly because I have so much, stuff about wrestling that's stuck in my head. I can't retain everything. Kejimuno, though, the Great Muda. The fact that he is still competing at this point, given the fact that he was wrestling back in the early 80s, is fucking great. They talk about, the pay-per-view that's going to be happening on the 8th. I believe the show's going to happen on the 8th, and it's going to be available on pay-per-view on the 10th, so it's not even going to be live, is what it is. I think if I heard commentary correctly, they said it was going to be available in the New Japan World Archive on the 15th. Now, I don't know if that means you have to buy the pay-per-view to watch it live, or if you can just watch it on demand without buying it, a week after. If I end up having to buy it, it is what I don't know. I'm not really interested. I've seen the card. I mean, again, I know nothing about Noah, and I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of great talent, but I don't really feel a pull to really watch it. But hopefully people that do watch it enjoy it. So Shingo, Hiromu, and Bushi show up. It's just a tease before we get to, an announcement. New Japan Pro Wrestling is back on Access TV starting March 3rd. Okay. I don't have Access TV, and a lot of cable stations don't really carry it. And even when they were on Access TV, they were one of the highest rated programs, mainly because Access TV had either that, now they have Impact Wrestling, or they had Wow Women of Wrestling. I would actually have to check my cable system because I don't remember if they still do carry Access. If they do, then maybe I'll watch some of the stuff they, that they have. But other than that, good for them. I mean, I was hoping they would get on a better network, but it is what it is. So also they announced February tour. New Japan Cup starts, I believe, the 2nd of March, and the finals are on the 26th and 27th. That's going to be a long tournament, if I read that correctly. Actually, I think it might be the anniversary that's on. Well, the anniversary is probably going to be on the 6th to commemorate the official start of 50 years of New Japan. And then April 9th is going to be, I assume, Sakura Genesis or something like that. It was all in Japanese. I have no idea what the hell they were saying. And Dontaku is going to be inside the Pei Dome, whatever that is, on the 1st of May. And also Dominion Osaka is going to be June 12th. Okay. I'm going to say right now you might be seeing less New Japan reviews from me simply because I'm not going to be watching the stuff live and I only have so much time to watch these events. So I will pick and choose what I review. So if you see a downturn in New Japan or New Japan content, it doesn't mean that I'm disrespecting the talents. It's just simply down to time. So Sonata took on the Great Okan in what was probably the Great Okan's best match since coming back, or coming back from excursion. And with this gimmick, I still hate the gimmick. I don't like it. I think it's stupid. I think he looks like a goddamn genie from a discount Disney movie. But still more convincing than Will Smith as a genie in the live-action Aladdin. My God, that was stupid. But Naomi Scott, sweet Jesus. Anyway, Sonata targeted the knees. Okan used his power and everything. Actually was dared to dive at one point and did a plancha outside. We get a nice Tiger suplex. A second rope moonsault from Okan. So he did some good stuff here. Again, well-paced and everything. The match that Zack Sabre Jr. had with Great Okan might actually be the best match he's had since coming back from excursion because Zack Sabre Jr. is that much of a genius. But Sonata did get the victory after getting the bridge pin 1, 2, 3. So then we get Jeff Cobb versus Tatsuya Naito in a big fight field match where Jeff Cobb's had a hell of a 2021 and did some good stuff here. But Naito kept targeting the knee, kept chopping him down with the edge of my hand. And Cobb was he was dominant for quite a while, but then Naito kept targeting the knee, and Cobb was bleeding from the nose, and we get more targeting of the knee. And even though it seemed like Cobb might, just use his overwhelming power, alas, Destino, 1, 2, 3. And there you go. Tetsuya Naito gets the victory. And then we move on to a match that scared the piss out of me with a couple of the spots. Hiroshi Tanahashi versus Kenta. No DQ match for the U.S. Championship. Sweet Jesus, that finish. Tana, why do you wish to leave this mortal realm? Kenta was bleeding like crazy. Weapons of madness and everything. And my God, let's go through some of the goddamn stuff. I thought that I might actually not care for this because I'm 50-50 on weapons-filled matches and hardcore matches and stuff like that. I don't necessarily consider it a style, at least in my personal opinion. I'm not saying that there hasn't been talent involved in those matches, and I have loved some. Hell, I love Britt Baker versus Thunder Rosa on the St. Patrick's Slam Dynamite nearly a year ago. God, it's hard to believe 2021 was last year. Man, where has the time gone? Not as far as Paula Cole said, where have all the cowboys gone? Boy, that was an old reference. So, we get a lightsaber stick fight. We get trash can lids and chairs and the old briefcase that Kenta used to keep the U.S. title shot in and broke it over Tanahashi's head and then blamed Tanahashi for breaking the briefcase. We get a ladder and a trash can to the head. We get a guitar, but both of these men drew a lot of dimes, unlike Jeff Jarrett. And we get the table out, more chairs, a stack of chairs, sling blade onto the stack of chairs, high fly flow onto the chairs, ouch, ouch, ouch. And then we get a cannonball into the chair pile. We get a table in the ring. We get a falcon arrow through the table. Huge ladder that takes about 8 years to set up. Huge goddamn ladder. Massive. Also looked like it was made out of tissue paper and out of tinfoil. Kenta is sent off the ladder, crashes into the garbage can, busts himself open like crazy. And then Tana sets him up on the table, and then I'm like, oh, oh no, he does a high fly flow, the highest, the flyest, the flowest. Reminds me of a girlfriend I used to have. Moving on from that. 1, 2, 3, new U.S. champion, Hiroshi Tanahashi. After losing it to Kenta, they gave him the title back. Please give him at least a lengthy run with the U.S. championship, provided that his knees didn't explode in that match. That was brutal. That was pretty goddamn good. And that might be one of my favorite matches of the year. So there was some really good stuff on this show. And then there was some stuff I just was kind of on. So we get a rundown of the previous champs and everything. Osprey out with the United Empire. Okada, comes out to a pop, or at least as much of a pop as the New Japan crowd can unleash. Because they can't cheer, but they can clap, stomp their feet, and have their girlfriends, mistresses, or wives beat their meat. Or somebody else's wife. Moving on from that, Osprey versus Kazuchi Okada, IWGP Heavyweight Championship match. While I enjoyed Shingo versus Okada more, was this a very good match? Yes. Was it worthy of being in the pay-per-view slot? Not just because of the stakes, but because of the talent. Absolutely. Is Will Osprey a fucking idiot? Yes, he is. Does he desperately want to be the top guy despite only having great in-ring talent that is going to flame out because he just can't be convincing? He's not charismatic enough. He has no goddamn mic skills at all. Yes, to all that. Whatever I said. This is good, though. Very good. Osprey kept trying to counter everything that Okada had because they faced off before. They faced off at last year's Wrestle Kingdom in a pretty damn good match. And that was a few months after Osprey had turned heel. And there was a moonsault off the truss. That was a truss fall. Okay, yeah, that wasn't that funny. Later, tombstone catch on the floor. Ouch. Not that it would have hurt Osprey's brain because you would have had to have had a brain in his head, or he would have, to actually, affect anything. And also the Chia pet hair. Chia spray. Ugh. And we get a missile drop kick for 2. We get, a Rainmaker pose. We get reversals. A nice Os cutter for 2. Super Os cutter for 2. Osprey does a Rainmaker counter of his own. Did a nice Spanish fly catch out of an Os cutter. There was some good shit here. And in a strike battle, Hidden Blade for 2. Oh no, but then the landslide brings Osprey down, and the Rainmaker finishes him off. 1, 2, 3. Kazuchi Okada, the true god of professional wrestling. Fuck you, Don Callis, for calling Kenny Omega that. And fuck you, Don Callis, for being allowed to be in wrestling because you have the NDA, in your name. In fact, that pretty much should be his name, Don NDA Callis. But Kazuchi Okada continues to reign as IWGP Heavyweight Champion. I don't see him losing it till at least Dominion. He may not lose it till next year. I don't know who the fuck else you could have beat him. He puts over his 2 opponents. That he will reign supreme. Naito shows up. They're going to run this back either for New Beginning in Osaka or whatever the big February event is, or they might do it at the anniversary show. I know they usually do the Junior Heavyweight versus the IWGP Heavyweight Champion. I hate to say it, they probably should just have Naito versus Okada at that and break that tradition. Though, Despy versus Okada would be a good match. And Okada basically wants to see Inoki wrestle or watch him wrestle live in a New Japan ring. They will need to get clearance and have a few seats away from him for his chin alone. But Okada was very emotional, and it was a pretty damn good night overall. Now, what is the future of New Japan Pro Wrestling? Who the hell knows? Are they going to make some dumb decisions? Probably, because there's some really, really bad heel work going on here. But that being said, at least Okada reigns supreme. Hooray! Agree, disagree, what I said, like, share, subscribe, Twitter handle in the description. I'm John Rethlin. As for New Japan Pro Wrestling content, I'll see you at least next month. Maybe I'll see you in March. It just depends. Depends on time and everything. Anyway, guys, see you soon.